When I was 18, my first job was as a perfume salesman, in which I had to distribute little pieces of paper like these in the streets with perfume on them, and I had to make sales from it. It was a pretty boring and tiring job, especially in the winter when my hands starting to freeze because of the cold. But fast forward a few years, I've done some freelance web development. I've worked in a startup as a marketer, and right now I'm working with one of the biggest French influencers in the business and marketing space. In this video, I'm going to show you how I managed to do it, and also show you how others managed to work for people like Gary Vee, Stephen Graham, Captain Sinbad, or Noah Kagan. When trying to get my first job, I had a pretty low quality strategy in which I contacted dozens and dozens of companies, and I still managed to get a few interviews because I was lucky and had designed a nice CV, but I still ended up with a pretty bad and low paid job, and I sold perfumes. At the beginning of a career, it's not surprising, I didn't really have any experience. I quickly realized that my approach was wrong. I should have been focusing on quality much more than on quantity, because the person who's going to check the application is a person, not a company, and no one would like receiving copy-pasted motivation letters and CVs. It should be common sense, but I saw many friends doing it in college, and I did it too. The solution would have been to choose just a handful of companies that I really wanted to work at and have a high-quality targeted approach. And it's exactly what I did to get my second job in a startup. I chose 10 companies I liked, was qualified for, and thought I could bring value to, and I then applied for my number one pick, which was a fintech startup. I used their app a lot, talked to their support, learned everything I could about the company, and I applied talking about all of that. I went through the different application steps and followed up with everyone I had an interaction with, and it worked on the first try. But if it didn't work, I still had 9 other companies I could contact. At this point, I was really happy to get my first startup job and working with interesting and smart people, and I also learned a lot. But when it comes to working for someone who's famous, it's way harder than that. They are really busy. Everyone is contacting them, sending them stuff, asking for their time, and they don't really have the bandwidth to answer to your email or your DM. And to work with them, you need a combination of luck and something called the permissionless apprenticeship. When someone is rich and famous, 99% of the people who are interacting with them are asking for their time, money, and energy. And it's pretty frustrating. Very few people actually care about their projects and want to help. And what if you could actually help, or at least show that you care and want to help them execute their vision? By doing that, you could set yourself apart and get noticed immediately. And you can actually do it with the permissionless apprenticeship. The term was popularized by Jack Butcher, the creator of Visualize Value. He explains that if you want to catch the attention of someone you admire, you should work for them and bring value to them instead of asking for a job. The worst case scenario is that you get some experience, and the best case is that they share what you did or you start working with them. A guy called Brandon did just that and got a job with Jack Butcher, and he's not the only one. D-Rock, a guy who works on Gary Vee's videos, also did this. He started off doing some freelance filmmaking and was struggling. He contacted Gary Vee many times, and at some point he offered to make some free videos for him, and it ended up getting him a job with Gary Vee. D-Rock is now his creative director, and he probably couldn't have come this far if he didn't do a bit of free work at the beginning. Jack, the right-hand man of Stephen Graham, worked for him for free, editing his videos and helping him on the business for a few weeks, and now he takes care of the Iced Coffee Hour podcast and is the right-hand man of Graham. Thomas, Captain Sinbad's videographer, sent him a script after a first failed attempt at contacting him and got to work on the channel. Or even Noah Kagan's current video editor, who got a job working for him by sending him videos that were way better edited than what Noah was able to do. This really works if your timing is good and you're doing something that is valuable for that person at the moment. So you still need some luck, of course, but it's still probably worth it because it might change your career and set you as someone who works with that person and does meaningful things in the long term. This approach is really interesting because even if you're not earning a lot at the beginning, you'll in the long term earn and learn way more. And I'm not the only one who thinks that.
I want to say, coming on 2 years, I've been working with him, and a lot of that time was for not very much money. And I think that showed Graham that I'm in it for the long haul, and I want more out of this than just like a big paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, it meant something to me to be, helping educate people about finances and stuff like that, and to be doing something that I felt like I wasn't capable of doing.
And the cool thing is that if you're watching this video right now, you already have all of the tools you need to do a permissionless apprenticeship. You can learn anything online. In my case, here's what I did. For many years, I had been following a French YouTube channel called Marketing Mania, created by a guy called Stan Leloup. Thanks to it, I learned a lot of things, and it also inspired me to start a few side projects and to start a marketing career. So I created a whole copycat YouTube channel about marketing in English to show that I really wanted to help out. I didn't have any video editing skills, so I took a few courses on Skillshare. I filmed on my phone, and my video setup looked like this. So here we can see that I didn't have any light, so I was using my lamp and natural sunlight, and I was reading my notes on the little laptop that is sitting here, and I was also using these two screens that I borrowed from my family to have additional lights. I don't really think this worked, but I still tried. And the best part of all is that the phone was supposed to be here on that little stick. But even with this setup, I still was able to make a few videos to get a bit better. And I also made a copy of Marketing Mania's most viewed video, but in English to show that the channel could work in the US. I also sent some resources and case studies that could help with the marketing of a startup he was working on. And I was really lucky because Louis Grenier, the host of Everyone Hates Marketers, sent everything to Stan and told him to check it out. Then the team of Marketing Mania ended up liking it, and I received an answer pretty quickly. And it felt a bit unreal. I was super excited to start working with the team and with Stan. A few weeks later, I headed out to Budapest with a team member to have an intense video editing training. And for 1 week, I edited a documentary about a guy you may have seen on the internet. The week was pretty hectic, and I spent most of my time staring at Premiere Pro and working non-stop, but it still was really fun, and I got a lot of knowledge. And now we're 1 year later. My video editing skills improved a lot, even if there's still room for improvement. And I transitioned from working on Marketing Mania to working on a startup project that is pretty interesting. The point of this video is not for me to be able to brag or for you to be able to brag about working with someone who's famous, and chasing internet clout really shouldn't be one of your motivations. The point of it all is building meaningful relationships and learning from people you admire, and you should not work for someone just because he or she is famous. That person also needs to have high integrity, a good work ethic, and having real experience that you can learn from. And yeah, that's the formula to work with famous people. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. I finally have more time to work on YouTube because I finally finished college, and it's actually the subject of the next video, by the way. In the next few weeks, I'll document projects I'm working on, and I'll talk about the design, marketing, development, and business side of things. And if you're interested in that, subscribe and like this video. And I'll see you in the next one.